Welcome back to the Arbitrary YouTube channel. In today's class, we are going to learn how to make this beautiful crop top that we see here. It's a simple crop top. I'm going to take you through how I cut and sew this in this class. If this is something you would like to learn, it does not have a zipper. We are going to be using button for this, so it's very simple. It does not have a lining as well. If this is something you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. So these are the fabrics that I'm working with. Like I said, there's no lining, there's no zipper, so I'm folding the front and back together, just as you can see it. So you're going to use the biggest part of your measurement, which in this case is the bust, to fold your fabric. You had your bust plus your ease allowance and your seam allowance. So I'm marking my starting point there, and then the total length for this top is going to be 17 inches. So I'm adding 2 inches for hemming. So you're going to mark your shoulder divided by 2, and then there you're going to come down by 1 inch for your shoulder slope. The neck width is 3 inches, and then the depth is 1 inch for the back and 3 inches for the front. So once you mark all of that, you are going to take your curved ruler and then you connect them like that. So now the next thing is to mark my armhole line, which is there, and then on my armhole line I'm going to mark my bust divided by 4. So for my armhole, I marked my shoulder on that point again, and then I created a straight line for the armhole curve. So you're going to come in by half an inch at the midpoint of your armhole, and then you draw so that you can mark your armhole curve, just as you can see. So now the next thing is to add your ease allowance and your seam allowance. I'm using half an inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. So I'm adding extra 1.5 inch to that, and I'm going to connect them together. So we are not shaping the waistline. Remember, there's no zipper, so that you can wear it easily. So I'm adding my shoulder allowance there, and then I'm going to grab my scissors and then cut out my bodice. It's very simple. It's just like a basic bodice, but the waist is like a box. It's not shaped on the waistline. So for the back, because it does not have that's the front, I'm cutting out the front neckline, and then for the back I'm going to be slashing it open at the center back so that the head can pass through it. So I'm coming down by 4 inches, and then I'm going to slash open the back. So for turning it, you can use a bias, but I like to use facing for mine. So what I'm doing is just to, a facing is just like a small lining. So I'm folding a little bit of the fabric, as you can see, and then I'm cutting out the exact neckline that I have. I'm cutting out the shoulder so that I can use the facing to turn the shoulder as well, and then I'm just going to shape it out. You can make it rectangular, you can curve it, it depends on how much you want. So from my neckline, I'm marking 5 inches all around, and then I'm going to connect it to the little of my armhole line that I have. So that is the facing for the front. It does not have to follow this shape, depending on the amount of fabric you have for your facing. It does not have to be this big. Just make sure that it is enough to turn your neckline. And if you want to work with bias, you can also work with bias. So for the back, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to place my pattern on the fabric. As you can see, I'm going to cut out my neckline, my shoulder. I'm going to cut a little bit of the armhole as well, and then you're going to do the slashing that we did. Can you see that 4 inches slashing at the back? So for that as well, you can shape the spacing anyhow you want. It's totally up to you and how you want it to be. So I'm just coming down from that point where I slash. I'm coming down by around 3 inches, and then I'm just connecting it to where my armhole stops. So I'm just showing you different ways you can shape it. You can shape like this. When you shape like this is what you have, but I don't want mine that big, so I'm just going to shape it to where my armhole stop at the front as well. So I'm placing the front armhole there so that I'll be able to use that as a guide. Okay, so that's where the armhole stop in front. That's why I want to stop at the back as well, and then I'm going to go ahead and shape. So this is the new shape that I have for my facing. So once you have that, the next thing is to cut out your sleeve. So the sleeve is also a basic sleeve. It's a very simple basic sleeve. I'm cutting the two together. So you are going to fold your fabric into two. I came by 3.5 for my cap's height, and then I'm going to connect it to the head of the sleeve and then divide the diagonal line into four. So once you divide it into four, you have four spaces. So on the first one, I came up by 1/4 inch. I left the middle part and then came down by 1/2 inch on the third line, and then you take your curve ruler and then connect it. You can also use your free hand to do this if that is what you prefer. So once you cut out your armhole, you're going to get your round sleeve. So on your round sleeve, you're going to mark it and then add your seam allowance. Then you're going to connect that to your armhole. So before I cut, I always like to fold in my allowance, my 2 inches hemming allowance, so that I can cut it together and then I will not have shortage. If you don't fold it, when you want to hem it, because you are not using lining, it may be you may have a little bit of shortage. So that's why it's always good to fold. So I want to reduce the hemming, the round sleeve that I worked with. I don't want it too big. So I'm reducing it, and again I'm folding in my allowance. So can you see, that's what we have. If you don't fold it in, can you see that shape? That's how you will cut, and when you want to hem it, it's going to be short. So it's always better. So now I have gone ahead to hem, to fold in the lining. So you just place your facing on your fabric and then you sew. So for the back, I'm using this loop as my button hole. So I'm just going to put it in between the facing and the main fabric, and then I'm going to sew it, so that by the time you turn it out, you have that loop there. Can you see? So you'll be able to fold your, to put your button there. I lost some clip, so I'm just trying to explain what I did. So that's the front. I placed the I placed the facing on the front as well, and then I used it to turn the front neckline. So once you turn it, this is what you are going to have. So you make sure you weave the rough edges of the facing so that it can be neat. And then I went ahead to sew my shoulders together, both front and back, and I use the facing to turn the shoulder as well. So that is pretty much everything I did. So once you are done with that, the next thing is to sew your sleeve to the armhole. You hem the sleeve. After sewing the sleeve to the armhole, make sure you weave it as well so that it can come out neat. And once that is done, you're going to join by the 1 inch seam allowance you left on the shoulder, and then you hem the top. So all of that is done now. I have joined it, I've hemmed the top. The next thing is to iron the facing down. So I'm going to be using my hemming gum to iron it so that it's not going to be coming up. I'm going to fix my button to the other side so that I can close the blouse, and your blouse is ready. It's a very simple blouse to make. So I'm just trying to check that I have my 17 inches top, and you can see that I have it. For the length, it's a small size, so I'm using 17 inches. If you are using a medium or large size, you can use 18 or 19 inches as your top length. So this is what our blouse looks like after ironing. This is what it looks like on the mannequin. I paired with mine with a palazzo pant. If you want to learn how I made the palazzo pant, let me know in the comment section, and I'm going to drop the link to the tutorial for you in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed making this with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.